Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Rail to Gutter. So today's race is the Verne Grand Prix 2022. It happened on August 14th of this year, obviously, and this is a Category 4-5 mixed race. It's not part of their, I think they call it the M22 series or something like that. But yeah, this was just an open race for the 4-5s to be mixed up with, and it was at 8 in the morning. And at 8 in the morning, I mean, it was warm. I made the poor decision, just like these other gents around me here, to wear all black. I don't know how they felt. I didn't ask them, but it was, personally for me, I think it was a pretty bad decision to wear all black. But just some course details. The course is a 6-turn clockwise course, and it is somewhat technical in one specific section that is coming up. You sort of make this right-hander, then it sort of descends a little bit into another sweeping right, then into sort of a semi-hard left that sort of sweeps into another right-hander. That's the most technical section of the whole thing. And there are bot dots in random places towards the back, these weird blue bot dots that are just sort of there. I don't know why they're there. They're just there. And there is another section on the last turn where it's sort of like this really bumpy reverse speed bump. You know, if you hit it hard enough and you don't take the right line, it's just going to mess you all up. So, yeah, that's the course. And then also there was two sections. One of them is kind of coming up right now that you're going to see. But this section turns to the right, and then immediately when you go to the left, it sweeps to that hardish left, the sweeping left. It sort of ascends again into like a 1.5-2% grade roughly. And there's other section at the beginning of our first turn that is like a 4.4% climb for about 1,000 feet. So doing that over and over and over eventually will tax your legs pretty badly. At least it did for me. Yeah, so how did I feel overall in this race? I've never done a 4-5 race before, ever. I typically tend to just stick to Category 5 novice races because, one, I can't finish them. I mean, I have yet to really be able to finish anywhere in the top 25% of the group or even the 50% of the group, just for the fact that, I mean, honestly, the way my training is with work scheduling and then also the work that I do is just, I'm exhausted half the time. So I try to avoid that by, one, staying positive throughout the day, but also because usually when I'm off work, I'm either on either side of the extreme of weather. So right now with summertime, by the time I'm off, that is the hottest time to be outside, and it's extremely windy right now. We're talking like anywhere between 12, 13 miles per hour up to about 17, 18 mile per hour winds, with gusts reaching anywhere between 17 to about 21, 22, give or take, especially on the bike trails, because the bike trail sort of tends to funnel the wind. So that's the thing that I got to work with. Like, I don't have a choice. That's just what it is. So, not complaining. It sucks, but that's just what it is. So, yeah, when I came into this race, I was thinking I was just going to be racing with mainly fives, Category 5s, but that wasn't the case. Yeah, I mean, this section right here was probably the worst part. I think on this lap, I decided to go to the far right because I knew that was the shortest distance between the corner to corner, and I already knew that the group was going to move a little to the right anyway, so it would kind of pick me up as I'm going. Yeah, I'd have to exert a little more energy because I'm out in the wind a little bit, but at least I can pass up some people just in case they pop. I don't get stuck in the back trying to close a massive gap down. Of course, that was my train of thought at that moment. Did it work? It kind of did, but it's a gamble for sure. And then the main mistake that I made, though, was that I lowered my saddle a bit in hopes that it would help mitigate some of my hamstring pain that I had been feeling, only to realize that by doing so, I would kind of be disengaging my glutes and the hamstrings almost completely, and therefore that only leaves me with quads to work with. And then, yeah, that was a really bad decision. my quads were burning massively by the second lap. I mean, you have your upper weight and then your lower weight, and the only things that are really pushing it and propelling it forward is quads. That's it. So it was a bad decision overall. I learned. I remade my adjustment the following day on Monday, yesterday, and yeah, massive difference, night and day, easily. But yeah, so next time I know, just don't mess with the saddle height. Just let it be and stretch out. Stretching is gonna be your best friend. So yeah, but yeah, the pace for this race, man, was spicy. It was really high, like pretty much the whole time. From what I learned after the race was that the person who actually won, and this is where fitness is a thing, the person who actually won, that individual is actually some type of fitness owner, like fitness, building owner, CEO, whatever. And like basically half his team rolls that way. They roll deep in the fitness of things. So yeah, like I was obviously not in a good position. Others, of course, there's a bunch of other riders here whose fitness is way the hell better than mine. So shout outs to you guys. You guys did way the hell better than I did for sure, and a bunch of other of us. But yeah, obviously fitness was definitely the next big thing that caused major problems for me. And then also that little ditch there. Anytime that I hit a bump, especially on my wheel setup, I mean, my speed was just, it was just brought down by a little bit. And that one little bit would cause me more pain because I would have to force my legs to rework to catch back up, and pull momentum back up to the point of where it was. So momentum was a big problem. And I also got brake checked a couple of times because there were some riders that sometimes would pass me up on the front or the side. Like right here, for example, this rider, a lot of space to work with, pumps the brakes. I'm next to him, so I don't know if he's trying to swing out or he's trying to keep it really tight. He did that a couple of times. Not to hate on him, I understand that we're all still learning, proper bike handling in a fast group environment. So I understand, but he did that a couple of times, and it did definitely make me a little nervous to ride around him. But yeah, so at this point, again, this is the third lap, same hill, and again, low saddle height, trying to push through it. That's a no-go. I was pretty much at this point, I was cooked. I was like, yeah, there's no way that I'm gonna physically close this all down for all of us, whoever's behind me. It's just not going to happen. Afterwards, from this point on, it's basically just going to be short edits. I did actually manage to talk to two of the riders for Major Motion because we were all kind of in the same spot. So this rider right here, shout out to him, Major Motion 776. I didn't catch your name, I apologize. But yeah, so he was basically dropped off in the back as well with me. And in the end, we were just kind of trying to work together to sort of not really catch on to the group, because once the moto passes you up like they just did right now, it's pretty much game over at that point. It's almost impossible to reattach yourself to the group unless the group dramatically slows down. But yeah, at this point, I remember I slowed down a little bit. I looked around to see who was behind me. These two riders right here are 797 and 798 from, I think, CDP. I'm not sure what that is exactly. Shout out to the rider 797. He rode the rivet of his saddle the whole race. If you don't know what I mean by that, he basically rode on the most narrow portion of his saddle through the whole race. And you can tell he was extremely uncomfortable doing so. And in the end, he pulled himself out because his entire right side handlebar tape just unraveled. And I watched it happen. And it just, it was bad luck, man. And you got to stop because that stuff can get in your front wheel and it could potentially make you fall. So shout out to him for that one. But real big shout out to 783 SDBC rider right here. He came up behind me and he's all like, let's finish it. So he basically did a little mini hero pull to pull us back up to the remaining riders in front of us. And we all started to kind of form our own little chase group here in hopes that we could, get placement basically, or somehow manage to find a way to reattach ourselves back to the group. Little did we know the group was basically gone at this point, and the group was probably only 2 turns away from basically overtaking us. So yeah, it sucked, but you know, at this moment I will say that I learned a ridiculous amount in just 2 laps with this little group right here. I learned how to take basically poles, one with a short small group, and then 2, like when you've already hit your limit, you have to learn to like really slow yourself down mentally and regroup, so that way you can keep pushing, and then you push that ceiling a little more, very slowly, but you push it. So that was one thing that the only way that I was going to learn that is by doing this in this moment. And you know, it's crazy. Like I learned more in 2 minutes with less people than with an entire group of racers. So yeah, you know what, like although I didn't do very well in the end result, pretty much all of us got a DNP or did not place. Basically only 1 through 42 got placement, and everyone else got either a DNP, and then the last people that didn't show, they got a DNS, which is did not show. So that sucks. But you know, it is what it is. When you don't get the result you want, you know, you just learn from it. It's all you can do. So at this point, we're kind of coming down to the last couple of turns. Yeah, everyone's just trying to like circle up, trying to, you know, again, take their poles, take good lines as best as possible. And like I said, in hopes that we can stay in the race. But little did we know, you know, race is pretty much over at this point. Again, shout outs to all the riders here in the front, you know, the SBDBC rider, the major motion riders. I think there was another major motion rider 778 behind me, and I didn't even notice it. And yeah, at this point, the official is right at the start finish line. He's whistling. He's letting us know this is it. And that's how I knew the group was like literally right there next to us. So we pull off to the side, and that's it. So again, shout outs to everybody, man. It was a good race. It was really, really hard. Definitely got to work on my fitness, and yeah. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and let me know how you felt about the race down in the comment section below. Catch you guys at the next one.